forceful. And of course, the Germans had never come across anything like this before. They had had swift victories in the lowlands, in France, Belgium, and the Netherlands, and of course, Norway, been defeated against Britain, but things are still looking pretty good for the German army. So, casting your mind back to the steppes of Russia, 1942, and the Russian army, by this time, an extremely efficient fighting force. And this is the sort of temperature that the troops would be operating in Russia. Everybody thinks it was freezing cold in Russia, but it was very, very hot in summer as well. So as well as operating in very cold temperatures, they were operating in extremely hot temperatures. So it gives you a really good idea of the sort of terrain that they would be operating in. Now, here we go. This is the sort of action you would see. Now, this is a Soviet reconnaissance vehicle, very much like the American Willis Jeeps, called a Gaz. And this is a reconnaissance vehicle to maybe probe where the German defenses are. All Russian vehicles or Soviet vehicles are not actually Russians. Russians are just a nationality that lived in the Soviet Union. So really, to give them the proper names, are Soviets. So we've got a Soviet reconnaissance vehicle coming through the battlefield. And nothing much to be seen. Germans are keeping their heads down. And I think that vehicle will probably report back to the Soviet commander. Let's see where that's going. Vehicles they're using, the motorbike sidecar combination. This is a BMW R71. Very versatile vehicle indeed. And these are painted in the Schwarz grey or dark grey. In fact, all German vehicles were in dark grey until about 1942, a dark yellow colour, and then really allowed the German troops to actually paint and camouflage the vehicles depending on what theatre they were operating in. And German troops were given these cans of paint to do just that. And that's why you see a lot of labels, because it was basically the troops who would disguise them. But these two vehicles are in the dark grey, and these are called Panzer Grenadiers. And the idea with Panzer Grenadiers are basically foot soldiers who would be wanting to keep up with the panzers and the tanks. Germans realised quite early on in the war that the panzers were pretty useless without troops. So this vehicle was developed, and this vehicle is a Panzerwagen 251. You'll see this will hold 8 troops, 10 including the driver and the radio operator, and they will fan out of the back, and it's exactly what this vehicle will be used for. The two guys in the front with the motorcycle combination, these are reconnaissance, and these will be ahead of the main troop of Germans, deciding where to go. And you've got to forget the German nation obviously have never been in the Soviet Union before. And a large part of the army, or a very important part of it, was map and just trying to find out where they were. The Germans had never ever come across a country as big as this. And there was a lot of German soldiers that said that they would travel days, they would travel weeks, and they would travel months and not see anything, just the same horizon. So vast was the Soviet country. And you can imagine a German soldier would have had experience of France and Belgium, which are quite small countries, and you can imagine being stuck in the Soviet Union. So maps were extremely important. And of course, no Soviet is going to leave maps around. So these reconnaissance guys had a very, very important job to do to find out where the main troops could go. Now, what have the Germans done yet? They've spotted these Soviets. The Soviets haven't spotted the Germans yet. So they're going to be setting up mortars. Now these mortars are very, very effective weapons, and they're going to bring down some fire on this Soviet position. So let's see how the action develops. Soviets at the back there. I don't think they've seen the German position yet. Certainly the Germans are very, very aware of them. Now I was saying this time of the war the Soviets are extremely hard and tough fighters. I think the first filming the Soviets, here come the mortars. Team there who seem to got the range pretty effectively, and these mortar shells are landing amongst the Soviet troops. And you can imagine how far for forests and buildings, and they would just land amongst you randomly, and there was no pattern to it where they were going to come from. The German rifle is the K98, and certainly well in range of the Soviets. Some more mortars coming in, and if you've got, you won't notice anything until 3 explosions hit by you. And the Soviets doing exactly the right thing, just keeping their heads down, trying to use the shovels to dig in, to get some cover. The Germans haven't finished with the mortars yet either. Another one hitting right in the centre nearly enough of the Soviets. He's had 6 going in as well. Up it goes. Where's it going to land? Just a bit short, that one. Now the Soviets are going to put in a counter-attack. Let's see how they get on. Now we were talking about the political commissar earlier. You can recognize him with his blue trousers. Now he'll take a position behind the Soviet soldiers and fighters, and he'll be perhaps looking for any Soviet troops that retreat. And it's not a good idea if you're a Soviet and retreat, because you get shot by the political commissar. So the soldiers quickly realized it's actually better to fight the Germans than actually retreat. Now, here they go, they're going to move forward into the German position. Very, very good fighters, as we were saying. And they'll be using their Moss and Nagants to bring some fire down into the Germans. The Germans been very sensible at the moment, just keeping their heads down. They'll use their mortar fire, and then they'll be using their position here to try and pick off. Now automatic fire would have a range of about 30-40 meters. So as the Soviets get a bit closer, the Germans will be using their automatic weapons. At the moment, it's best to use the rifles. Now the Germans putting in a counter-stroke as well. And we're talking 1942, the baking steps of the Soviet Union, exactly how it would have been. But you can imagine these battles being multiplied 100 times, 1,000 times. The carnage on both sides was just incredible. And no side gave either ground to prisoners. They were forced back to Germany, basically worked to death. And if you were fortunate as a German to be captured by the Soviets, again, you were taken to Siberia, the gulags, and basically put to work in death factories as well. So both sides, it was a war. It was a war of ideology between Stalin and Hitler. And both sides wanted to win. So, German patrol put in, ambushed the... Now on the other side, it looks like we're going back to Western Front. Now Western Front again, we're talking at 1944, June, July 1944, and we're just seeing an American Jeep coming in the French countryside, the Bocage, and this will be a reconnaissance chief, and he's reporting back. I don't think the German patrol on the right have seen this, so we need to cast back to the Western Front now, Normandy. Jeep, reconnaissance jeep, and they've certainly reported back. Have the other squad of the Germans seen the Allies on the other side? I don't think yet. Certainly the small squad left here are resetting up the mortar in a different position now. Have the squad Germans seen the Allies on the left-hand side yet? I don't think they have. Yes, someone has. We need reinforcing on this side. There are Allies. Now then, the small squad of Germans is putting in a fantastic fight against the Allies. They think they need reinforcing. Now then, let's see how the Allies are doing on this side. They've only got a small squad of Germans to fight. How did that German patrol see the Allies on the other side yet? Now the officer there, he said yes he has, at last he's seen them, and they're going to come back and help that side. One side of his defensive area has been attacked by the Allies. Now the Allies have been held off by the Germans, a small squad of Germans with their mortar in Normandy 1944, Operation Overlord Deliverance Day. Now what are the Germans going to do? I think they might end up putting a counter-attack in here as well. So to the eastern front. Now we're going to move on to the western front. The position had been reconnaissance by the American Jeep. Now the Allies are being reinforced by regular infantry from the Duke of Wellingtons. They've got some American airbornes in there as well as the commandos. To the counter-attack, and certainly they're going to be seeing what these Allies are up to. Bring all the men back behind the half-track as cover. This half-track will be armoured steel. Now those soldiers there from British infantry, mortar fire being brought into the German position, mortar fire going back from the Germans as well. Allies keeping their heads down. But I think these Germans are getting ready for a counter-attack. They're certainly positioning the men and spreading them around on the battlefield to the right. Smoke going down. More mortar fire going into the Allies. Explosions. The Duke of Wellington's really toughly holding their position. And if you're with me in the talk earlier, it's a very... Some more mortar fire being brought in. Now let's see if this counter-attack's going to develop from the Germans. Yes, here it is. The half-track's moving forward. Followed by Panzer Grenadiers behind them. Let's see what the Duke of Wellingtons make of this. Armour and more Panzer Grenadiers. June 1944. Near Caen. A vicious, vicious fight. 3 days they were battling for the Duke of Wellington. After 3 days they were basically annihilated. And when they were reforming the next day to count their dead, one of them spotted a German squadron plane overhead, and within 10 minutes they were being barraged again by German arms. The Germans, of course, still masters of the counter-strike. It looks like the half-track's taken a hit. Certainly it's on fire. That could have been from a bazooka round. It looks like it's been hit by a bazooka. Or a Piat, which is an Allied anti-tank weapon. Now then, it looks like the Germans are on the back foot. And ladies and gentlemen, we're casting our minds back to the eastern front again. The Soviets are re-attacking on the eastern front side as well. So what we're going to try and imagine here, this is like a little map of Europe, or any war now, where the German army are to the commander, or being in the army when you're attacked on both sides, like a pincer movement, a cauldron of fire, as the Germans used to call it. So you're getting in fire from both sides, from the Allied side, and from the Soviets on the eastern front. When the Germans were being pushed on both fronts, with his excellent camouflage on. The Germans counter-attacking the Soviets to some extent. They're not going to get this without a fight. They're going to be in the countryside around Minsk, the big Soviet steppes, Stalingrad, the outskirts of that, the Caucasus, through Ukraine, Poland, and back into the... You can hear some bagpipes in the background, I think, urging the men on. There was bagpipes actually in D-Day. It's an amazing thing. The Germans actually spotted the bagpipe player, and they thought he had gone mental, and so they didn't bother shooting him. playing bagpipes standing up on a beach when you were getting fired at? Well, certainly somebody did. I can hear some whistles on the Allied side. It looks like they're expecting an attack on the Allied pretty soundly. Duke of Wellington moving again. And there's the bagpiper. And he's not mental, ladies and gentlemen, although the Germans thought he was. Eastern front holding very, very well for the Germans. The Western front being pushed by those airborne and regular British infantry. And the British infantry knocked out 251. Soviets putting up a fantastic fight here as they always do. They're going to push forward again. Germans taking casualties on the eastern front. Germans taking casualties on the western front as well. Western front Germans being pushed back as the Allies push. Now then, there's a soldier in charge there, the American of the western front. He's pushing his men further forward again. On this side, the Eastern Front Germans are surrendering with their hands up. Dukes finally reaching the German position. Very, very dangerous part of the battle here on both sides for our Soviet colleagues on our Western Front soldiers. Reaching the German base. Is it booby-trapped? Are there mines there? Who knows? Certainly there's very important prisoners and they'll be rounded up and brought to the battlefield near me. Oh no! There's an officer going for a run for it. He's got a stick grenade. He's throwing it the hand grenade. The fuel dump's going to go off. Do they not like that? The fuel gone up.